In the stillness of night, where the shadows grow long and the silence speaks in whispered tones, welcome to our scary stories. Tonight, we beckon you to step into a world where the lines between past, present, and future blur, where forgotten memories and futures not yet lived meld into a brew most sinister. Settle in, dear listeners, and let your imagination take flight as we unveil the tale of the witch's brew. The metropolis roared with the hum of cars, the chattering of thousands, and the electric buzz that comes with modernity. Yet, in a forgotten corner of a bustling street, lay a tea shop that seemed to exist outside of time. A mix of rustic charm and bohemian allure, Morana's Teas was draped in creeping ivy and lined with deep oaken beams that seemed centuries old. Inside, the air was dense with a mix of scents, hints of lavender, the sharpness of ginger, and an underlying, musky aroma that one could not quite place. Antique chandeliers cast a soft, golden hue, making the air seem heavy and almost tangible. Tall shelves laden with ceramic jars lined the walls, their labels written in a language few recognized. The very fabric of the place seemed to throb with a quiet energy. Morana, the proprietor, was an ethereal figure. Her silver hair flowed like a river, reaching the small of her back, and her eyes, a piercing shade of green, seemed to see through to one's very soul. Despite her age, there was an elegance about her that many found captivating. In a corner, a young man named Nathan scribbled furiously into a notebook. Every so often, he'd stop and take a sip from his tea, eyes widening in what appeared to be a mix of awe and alarm. Across from him, Lee, with her raven black hair and vibrant tattoos, stared into her own cup as if trying to decipher a hidden message within its depths. Have you felt it too? Lee's voice was but a whisper, her gaze never leaving the tea. Nathan looked up, eyes locking onto hers, the visions. Yes, it's incredible and frightening all at once. At a table by the window, Roberto, a man of about 60 with deep lines etching his face, took a hesitant sip of his brew. A look of disbelief flashed across his eyes, quickly replaced by a steely determination. He had seen something, and whatever it was, it stirred memories of his time on the force. The door creaked open, letting in a gust of city noise. A young couple stepped in, their eyes darting around in wonderment. They had clearly heard of this place and were eager to experience its magic for themselves. You must choose wisely, Morana's voice drifted from behind the counter, soft yet firm. Each tea has its own story to tell. As the evening wore on, more and more patrons filled the shop. Murmurs of amazement, gasps of surprise, and hushed conversations filled the air. The city outside seemed to fade away, replaced by the intoxicating blend of mystery and enchantment that brewed within these walls. Roberto leaned closer to Nathan and Lee, his voice quivering with urgency. We need to understand what's happening here. I've seen things I shouldn't know. Lee nodded in agreement. This place, these teas, they're powerful. Maybe too powerful. Nathan's gaze drifted towards Morana, who was preparing a new blend, her hands moving with practiced grace. There's a story behind this place, he murmured, and I intend to uncover it. Outside, the city continued its frenetic pace, oblivious to the mysteries unfolding within the tea shop. But for those inside, life would never be the same again. The first chapter of their journey had just begun, and the path ahead was shrouded in enchantment and danger. The next morning brought with it a pale, dawning light that filtered through the tea shop's windows. The city was awakening, stretching its limbs in the form of pedestrians and cars slowly populating the streets. But within Morana's teas, a deeper awakening was taking place. Nathan, with a renewed sense of purpose, had arrived early, his journalist instincts compelling him. He had barely taken a sip of his chosen tea, a rich blend with swirling golden hues, when a flash of a distant event unfurled in his mind. He saw himself, older, with streaks of gray in his hair, receiving an award for a groundbreaking article. The applause, the weight of the award in his hand, the pride swelling in his chest, it all felt so real. Shaking his head to clear the vision, he noticed Lee deep in thought across the room. She had chosen a vivid blue blend today, and as she drank, her face was bathed in its shimmering light. Within moments, a radiant smile spread across her face. She saw her art showcased in a grand gallery, visitors marveling at her brilliance. But as quickly as the happiness came, it was replaced by a fog of confusion. A memory of her first ever art showcase, a memory she held dear, now felt distant and fragmented. Roberto, having experienced the strangeness of the tea's visions the day before, took a cautious sip of a dark, almost opaque blend. Immediately, scenes from an old, unsolved case played before him, but they were different. The unsolved case was no longer in the past. It was in the future. Faces he didn't recognize, evidence he hadn't seen, and yet there was a haunting familiarity to it all. The door to the shop opened with a gentle chime, drawing their attention. The young couple from the previous evening stepped in, their faces a mix of eagerness and trepidation. They approached the counter where Morana stood, her piercing green eyes assessing them. "What would you recommend for first-timers?" a woman with her cascading brown curls asked. Morana's lips curled into a small, knowing smile. "For those seeking a glimpse of what may come, I'd suggest the amber elixir. But remember, every sip comes with a price." The man, tall with a scruffy beard, hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "We'll try it." As the couple settled into a cozy nook, Nathan, Lee, and Roberto exchanged glances. Words weren't needed. Their shared experiences had created an unspoken bond. Their lives had intertwined in the most unexpected of ways, and the mysteries of Morana's teas beckoned them further into its depths. As days turned to weeks, Morana's teas became the city's not-so-secret treasure. Long lines of people eager to taste the enigmatic brews and experience visions of their futures formed outside the shop each day. It was a phenomenon no one could explain, but everyone wanted to be a part of. Inside, the ambience remained unchanged, the gentle glow of chandeliers, the fragrant dance of herbs and spices, and the ever-watchful gaze of Morana. Yet, the clientele was evolving. Faces that once visited out of mere curiosity now had a look of desperation, an insatiable hunger for more glimpses into the future. Nathan found himself returning to the shop daily, often spending hours scribbling away after each tea-induced vision. The line between reality and these glimpses was growing hazier. One day, as he typed away at his computer, he struggled to remember the title of his very first published article, a piece he had been immensely proud of. The memory, which once held a special place in his heart, now felt like a fading dream. Lee, too, was ensnared by the shop's allure. Every evening, she would sit in her preferred corner, sipping a different blend, and sketching visions of her art in grand exhibitions and spectacular shows. But one evening, as she tried to sketch a memory of her mother, who had first inspired her to pursue art, the image eluded her. The features, the warmth, the exact hue of her mother's eyes, it was all slipping away, as if being erased from her mind. Roberto, with his ever-present skepticism, resisted the pull of the teas for a while. But even he couldn't deny the allure of seeing more about the mysterious case that now intertwined with his future. Each time he revisited, the tea revealed more intricate details of the crime, pushing him deeper into the rabbit hole. Yet, one evening, as he tried to recall his wife's laughter, a melody he'd known for decades, he was met with silence. The memory had vanished. One afternoon, as a gentle rain tapped against the window panes, the young couple from their first encounter, whom Nathan had come to know as Sarah and James, sat huddled together, deep in conversation. James's voice trembled with emotion. "Sarah, I saw us, together with children, in a home I've never seen. But today, I couldn't remember our first date. How is that even possible?" Sarah's eyes glistened with tears. "I feel it too. The future is becoming clearer, but our past, our memories, they're fading." Across the room, Lee approached Nathan and Roberto. "We can't be the only ones feeling this," she whispered, glancing around at the room full of engrossed patrons. "We need to do something." Roberto took a deep breath, his detective instincts flaring. "First, we need to understand the depth of this. What price are we really paying for these glimpses?" As the three of them huddled together, forming a pact of resistance and investigation, Morana continued her work behind the counter, her expression inscrutable. The true essence of her brews remained shrouded in mystery, and the unraveling of memories had only just begun. The city's nights were typically filled with urban sounds, distant music, the murmur of late-night conversations, and cars passing by. But that evening, within Morana's teas, the atmosphere was thick with tension and suspense. The shop, usually a haven of relaxation and wonder, now felt like the epicenter of an unfolding enigma. Nathan, Lee, and Roberto had decided to dive deeper into the mystery. Their first step was to discreetly question the regulars, hoping to unearth any common threads in their experiences. Lee approached a middle-aged woman named Clara, who was slowly sipping a crimson blend. "Clara, do you ever feel like..." Like you're forgetting things, important things from your past. Clara looked up, her eyes distant. It's strange. I saw a vision of my daughter graduating with honors, a future milestone. But just yesterday, I couldn't recall her first words. It feels like I traded one memory for another. Meanwhile, Nathan engaged in conversation with a university student named Alex. His teas, they're extraordinary, right? Have you noticed any side effects? Alex frowned, pausing to think. Now that you mention it, I had a vivid vision of my future research being celebrated. But last night, I blanked out on the topic of my current thesis. It was like it had been plucked from my mind. Roberto, with his detective's tact, spoke to a gentleman named Marcus. You've been coming here for a while. Ever felt something amiss? Marcus sighed, his face lined with concern. I saw my retirement, surrounded by grandchildren. It was heartwarming. But then I struggled to remember my proposal to my wife, a moment that was the cornerstone of my life. I feel like I'm losing parts of myself. As the evening wore on, more patrons shared eerily similar accounts. Visions of the future seemed to consume treasured memories from the past. Gathering at a table, Nathan, Lee, and Roberto pieced together the stories. It's like a balance, Nathan mused. For every glimpse into the future, a piece of the past is taken. Roberto nodded, and the more one drinks, the more they stand to lose. Lee's voice quivered. We need to confront Morana. This can't go on. Taking a collective breath, the trio approached the counter where Morana stood, her ethereal beauty undiminished. Roberto, summoning all his courage, spoke. Morana, what's happening to us, to everyone here? What are these teas doing? Morana gazed at them, her green eyes reflecting a depth of centuries. Every fortune has a cost. You seek to see the path ahead, but the roads traversed are obscured in return. It's a balance as ancient as time. Nathan's voice shook with anger. You knew, yet you let everyone continue. Morana replied, her voice cold yet melodic. Everyone has a choice. They chose to see. Now they must bear the cost. Lee clenched her fists. We have to find a way to reverse this. Morana's lips curled into a mysterious smile. Perhaps there is a way, but it won't be easy. The threads of time are intricately woven. As the clock struck midnight, Morana's teas, once a place of wonder, became a puzzle they were determined to solve. The stakes were high, with memories, identities, and legacies hanging in the balance. In the heart of the city, with its towering buildings and neon lights, Morana's teas stood as an enigma. Its ancient aura contrasted sharply with the modernity surrounding it. Within its walls, the trio, Nathan, Lee, and Roberto, began their search for a solution, a way to restore the stolen memories of countless souls. Roberto began, every potion, every spell, has a counter. We just need to find it. His detective background had taught him that for every action, there was a reaction. Nathan, ever the journalist, suggested we need to research. There have to be old legends, myths, anything related to memory and time. Lee, her artist's intuition guiding her, said, and we should also look within the shop. Morana has been here for ages. There must be clues hidden in plain sight. Dividing their tasks, Nathan scoured the city's library, delving into old records and forgotten folklore. He came across a legend about a timekeeper who could control the ebb and flow of memories. This entity valued memories as treasures and might hold the key to restoring them. However, invoking the timekeeper required a relic from the past and a promise for the future. Lee, meanwhile, examined every nook and cranny of Morana's shop. Beneath a loose floorboard, she found a vial filled with a silvery liquid labeled essence of Mnemosyne. Mnemosyne, as Lee recalled, was the Greek goddess of memory. Could this be a potential antidote? Roberto reached out to his contacts, seeking any whisper or rumor about restoring lost memories. An elderly woman, known to be a sage, told him of a ritual that involved combining memories of multiple people. It would create a collective force strong enough to pull back memories lost to time. Armed with their findings, the trio reconvened. Combining their knowledge, they realized that the solution might involve using the essence of Mnemosyne, invoking the timekeeper, and performing the memory ritual. But it was not without risks. We're meddling with forces we barely understand, Nathan cautioned. Lee, her eyes filled with determination, said, we can't let all those memories vanish into oblivion. We owe it to everyone. Roberto agreed. We tread carefully, but we tread forward. The night was silent, save for the whispering winds. Within Morana's teas, surrounded by myriad brews and ancient artifacts, the trio began their endeavor. Pouring the essence of Nemesine into a cauldron, they each placed a cherished personal item inside, symbols of their past and tokens for the future. Reciting the old legends Nathan had found, they invoked the timekeeper, beseeching its assistance. The cauldron's contents began to shimmer, releasing a luminescent mist that enveloped the shop. Outside, the city seemed to pause, as if holding its breath. Within moments that felt like lifetimes, memories began flooding back to patrons across the city. Forgotten first words, lost moments of love, and faded childhood memories resurfaced. However, as dawn approached, the trio felt drained, their energies sapped. They had managed to restore memories to many, but the toll on them was evident. Morana, appearing from the shadows, remarked, "You've tapped into ancient forces and achieved a delicate balance." Her tone was neither approving nor disapproving, simply observant. Roberto, exhaustion evident in his voice, responded, "People deserve their memories, their identities." Nathan, looking at the first rays of the sun, whispered, "The cost of the future should never be the past." Lee, her eyes reflecting hope, concluded, "Every story, every memory is a testament to our journey. We've ensured they live on." In the midst of a city waking up to a new day, Morana's tea stood silent, its secrets momentarily unveiled, but its mysteries far from over. Morana's teas, with its timeless facade and glowing lanterns, had been transformed overnight. The news of memories restored spread like wildfire through the city, turning the tea shop into a haven for those seeking solace and answers. However, with every solution came new challenges. While memories were restored for many, the city itself began to experience distortions. The streets warped at odd angles, buildings seemed to flicker between architectural eras, and a soft hum, like the fluttering of 1,000 moth wings, pervaded the atmosphere. The blurring of the past and the future had started to affect the very fabric of reality. Roberto, looking out from the tea shop's window, remarked, "It's as if the city's caught between different times. The past and the future are colliding." Lee, her fingers stained with paint as she sketched the anomalies, said, "We tried to balance personal memories, but maybe we disturbed something bigger, something cosmic." Nathan, flipping through an ancient tome he'd borrowed from the library, replied, "There's mention of the tapestry of time here. When meddled with, it can ripple, creating disturbances in the flow of events." The trio realized the gravity of their actions. Their noble intentions had inadvertently endangered the equilibrium of the entire city. They needed to mend the tapestry of time before the distortions became permanent. As they brainstormed, an elderly gentleman entered the shop. Dressed in robes that shimmered like the night sky, his eyes held the wisdom of countless eons. "I am Kronos," he declared, "keeper of time. I've felt the disturbances and have come to guide you." Nathan, in awe, said, "The timekeeper from the legends." Kronos nodded. "Your actions were well intended, but time is a fragile thread. To restore balance, you must weave it back together, understanding that memories, while precious, have their place in the continuum." With Kronos' guidance, they set up an intricate loom in the center of Morana's teas. Each thread represented a strand of time, golden ones for joyous memories, silver for somber ones, and hues of every color in between. Lee, with her artistic touch, began weaving, ensuring each thread found its rightful place. Roberto and Nathan assisted, their hands moving deftly, guided by Kronos' wisdom. Hours turned into moments, and moments felt like eternities. The shop was bathed in a prismatic glow as the tapestry took shape. As the final thread was woven, the city's distortions began to fade. The streets straightened, buildings solidified, and the peculiar hum subsided. Kronos, observing their handiwork, remarked, "You've not just mended the tapestry, but strengthened it with your dedication and unity." Roberto, his brow glistening with sweat, replied, "We had to set things right." Lee, her eyes shining with tears, whispered, "Every thread, every memory, has its place in the grand design." Nathan, his voice filled with reverence, said, "Time isn't just a sequence, it's a melody, a harmony of events and memories." With a nod and a smile, Kronos vanished, leaving behind a city restored and 3 guardians who had glimpsed the mysteries of time. Morana, from her vantage at the counter, smiled enigmatically. The tea shop had once again become a witness to the dance of time, with its intricate steps, swirls, and leaps. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a deep crimson hue across the city. Within the confines of Morana's teas, the ambience was a blend of relief and contemplation. After the adventure with the tapestry of time, life had seemingly returned to normal. But in the world of the arcane, stillness was often a prelude to greater mysteries. Lee, her hands moving gracefully across a canvas, painted a scene from their recent adventure. The tapestry, with its intricate patterns, took shape on her canvas, becoming almost lifelike. Nathan, engrossed in another tome, murmured, "Every action in the realm of magic has consequences, ripples that spread far and wide." Roberto, sipping a freshly brewed cup of tea, pondered, "Morana's been silent since the tapestry event. It's unlike her to be so distant." Just as he spoke, a cold gust of wind swept through the shop, extinguishing the candles. Shadows played tricks on the walls, forming patterns that were neither entirely human nor wholly abstract. From the depths of the shop, Morana emerged, her appearance altered. Her eyes, usually sharp and discerning, now appeared clouded, and her once steady hands trembled slightly. "The tapestry," she whispered, it attracted attention. Nathan, understanding dawning upon him, asked, "From whom?" "Entities beyond our realm," Morana responded, her voice echoing with a resonance that seemed otherworldly. "Beings who thrive in chaos, who wish to unravel the threads of time for their amusement." Roberto, his detective instincts flaring, questioned, "How do we stop them?" Morana, taking a deep breath, replied, "By grounding the tapestry to our realm, anchoring it so that it's out of their reach." Lee, her fingers stained with paint, wondered aloud. Anchoring requires something strong, something unbreakable. What could be that powerful? Emotions, Morana stated. The most potent magic resides in human emotions. Love, hope, and unity are forces that even transcendent entities cannot easily tamper with. The plan was clear. The trio would anchor the tapestry using the strongest memories and emotions they could muster. Memories that echoed with laughter, moments filled with love, and instances of unity. Under Morana's guidance, they began the ritual. Lee, dipping her brush into the essence of Nemesine, painted symbols of protection onto the tapestry. Nathan chanted incantations that resonated with the frequency of emotions, creating a harmonious barrier. Roberto, recalling his most cherished moments, infused the tapestry with the force of his memories. As they worked in unison, the atmosphere in the tea shop began to change. The oppressive shadows started to dissipate, replaced by a soft, golden light. The very fabric of the room pulsed with life and energy. After what felt like both a moment and an eternity, the ritual was complete. The tapestry, glowing with an inner light, stood resilient and grounded, beyond the reach of chaotic entities. Morana, her old self once again, remarked, "You've not just protected the tapestry, you've shielded this entire realm." The power of genuine emotions is unmatched. Roberto, looking at the now tranquil tea shop, mused, "We've been on a journey, one that's shown us the strength within and the magic around." Nathan, his eyes reflecting wisdom, added, "Every chapter, every adventure is but a thread in the grand tapestry of life." Lee, her canvas now depicting the triumphant trio, concluded, "And as long as we have memories to cherish, emotions to feel, and unity to uphold, no force, no matter how powerful, can ever unravel our story." The night deepened, and Morana's teas stood as a beacon of hope and magic, a testament to the strength of human spirit and the wonders of the unknown. Morning's first light spilled into the city, casting long, golden fingers across rooftops and through alleyways. Birds began their melodious symphony, signaling the start of a new day. Within the walls of Morana's teas, a serene calmness prevailed. The scents of freshly brewed potions and teas wafted through the air, inviting passers-by to partake in its delights. However, the store bore a noticeable change. Nestled in its heart stood the tapestry, illuminated and radiant, drawing glances of admiration and whispers of awe from every patron. As the morning hours passed, the trio convened at their usual table, sipping on a special blend Morana had prepared in honor of their achievements. This tea didn't show glimpses of the future or evoke memories of the past. Instead, it deepened their connection to the present, reminding them of the importance of living in the moment. Morana approached, her graceful steps barely making a sound on the wooden floor. "You've woven a legacy," she began, her voice soft yet profound. "This tea shop, the tapestry, and even the very air here have imbibed your essence, your dedication, and your bravery." Lee, her eyes glinting with emotion, responded, "It's been an extraordinary journey, one that's taught us so much. But it's also a testament to your legacy, Morana." Nathan nodded in agreement. Your brews, while enticing, also serve as reminders. Reminders of the fleeting nature of time and the everlasting impact of memories. Roberto, gazing at the patrons lost in their cups, shared. This place is a sanctuary where stories are shared, memories are cherished, and the future is approached with hope. Morana, touched by their words, whispered a thank you, her eyes conveying a depth of gratitude words could hardly capture. She then revealed a surprise. For all that you've done, I've created a special blend for each of you. She handed them ornate vials. Lee's contained a shimmering liquid that mirrored the colors of her paintings. Nathan's brew sparkled with knowledge, and Roberto's seemed to capture the essence of 1,000 adventures. These brews, Morana explained, are extensions of yourselves. They hold your strengths, your dreams, and your essence. Whenever you're in doubt or need a reminder of your journey, they'll be there. The day wore on, and as evening approached, the trio, with their special brews in hand, stepped out into the city. They knew that many more adventures awaited them, but for now, they reveled in the legacy they'd woven, the memories they'd created, and the magic they'd brought to life. Morana's teas stood resilient against the backdrop of the setting sun, an emblem of mysteries solved, tales spun, and the timeless dance of emotions, memories, and time itself. The end of one chapter was merely the beginning of countless others, waiting to be discovered, explored, and cherished. As the curtain falls on this chapter of the unknown, we hope you've savored the blend of dread and wonder from Morana's mysterious shop. Until we meet again in the shadowed corners of your mind, remember, time might heal or harm, memories may fade, but stories linger forever. Sleep well, dear listeners, and thank you for joining us on our Scary Stories. This is our Scary Stories signing off for tonight.